Hello students, today our topic is Python dictionary and this is Python dictionary part 3. In this lecture we are going to discuss about some methods related to Python dictionary. First of all, how to remove different data items in a dictionary. So there are different methods used for that purpose. One of them is a pop method. So you can easily see on the screen that is a program related to the pop method. First of all, let us create a dictionary and the name of the dictionary is thisdict. And it is same as just we discussed in our previous video. So I don't change our dictionary name here. Pop method. Pop method removes the item with a specified key value, key name. So you must give the name of the key to delete a value belongs to a dictionary. So this dict is a dictionary and you can easily see there are three keys: brand, model and year, and values are also there with respect to them. After the declaration of dictionary, there is a statement thisdict dot pop, and we just give the name of the key inside the parenthesis sign, which by which we are able to delete a element. We are able to delete value related to the key. Model, and after there is a print statement thisdict, which basically print the dictionary. So first of all, let us execute this program. Go to Python 3.3, Python IDLE, and then after interactive mode is there. Go to script mode, write the program here and just save the program first, and only after then you can able to execute the program. .py is the extension of the Python program. Program already exists, so it's overwrite. Now next, this is the output. You can easily see on the screen. So brand and year are only two key values, and brand is Ford and year is 1964. So model is not there because model is already deleted. That is the output. There is another method named pop item method. It also removes the data items. It actually removes the last inserted items in version 3.7, but a random item is removed instead. So this is little bit different in when we compare it with a pop method. So it basically removes the last item, but in version before 3.7 a random item is removed instead. So we here just use 3.3. So any arbitrary value will be deleted in that case. But when you use Python 3.7, then it removes only the last items. So let us see. This is the program here. Same program as the previous one, the only difference is in terms of the method. In this we just use pop item method, and there is no parameter value passed within pop item method. So let us see what happens when we try to delete an element using pop item method. Copy the program and just try to execute this program in Python 3.3. Here remember that we execute this program using Python 3.3. So any random value or any random item will be deleted in that case. So this dictionary basically contains 3 data items. After that there is a statement district.pop items, and at last print district, which print the dictionary after the data item, after the deletion of the data item. Just save the program first, and after that execute the program. Now you can easily see that year and brand model is not there. So model key and the value related to the model key is not there. So one item is removed related to model key. Okay, now if we execute this program again, let us see what happens. Let's execute the program. Now model is there, brand is there, but year is not there. It means it randomly pick any value, any item. So now this time data item related to year is deleted here. Again we can check it again, and let us execute this program again. Now this time year and model both are there, but brand is not there. So you can easily see here that model, year and model are there, brand is not there. So every time it select a random value, and as I told you that before 3.7 a random item is removed using pop item method, but if you use Python 3.7 then last value will be deleted in that case. There is another method, or we can say that there is another way to delete an element, and it is by using del keyword. So using del keyword you are able to delete a particular data item, even you are able to delete a whole dictionary. So this is a small program here, same dictionary district here, but now the only difference in terms of the del keyword. So first of all just write del after the name of the dictionary, and within a square bracket just write name of the key, and name of the key is here is model, and after that there is a print statement, and within the print statement name of the dictionary is there. It is because we just want to check after the delete statement what happens to the dictionary. So actually del keyword delete if you want to delete any item, then using del keyword it is possible. So if you mention any key value, so that value will be deleted, or that item will be deleted in that case. And if you want to delete whole dictionary, then just write del and name of the dictionary. This will delete the whole dictionary. And if you want to print the dictionary after that statement, then there is error because that dictionary doesn't exist. So del keyword can also delete the dictionary completely. So we can delete a particular data item or even whole dictionary using del keyword. Let us check it. So this dictionary is a dictionary contain 3 data items regarding to brand, model and year. And after that there is a statement del this dict, which basically delete the whole dictionary. And if you just want to print that dictionary after that statement, print this dict, this will cause an error because this dict no longer exists. Okay, so now let us execute this program and see what happens. Always remember that when you just delete the dictionary using del keyword, and if you want to print that statement, error will be there. You can easily see on the screen. This dict is not defined. And why it is not defined? Because it is already deleted and there is no dictionary named this dict. Next topic is copy a dictionary. If you want to make a copy of a dictionary, it is also possible, but it is not possible by using assignment operator. Actually, when you use an assignment operator to copy a list, then just like dict2 is equal to dict1, then the whole content of the dict1 is copied to dict2. But in that case, what will happen if you make a change in dict1, means dictionary 1, then that change will also be reflected in dict2, means in second dictionary. So it is not a correct method to copy a dictionary. If you want to copy a dictionary, there is a method named copy method. So you can make a copy of a dictionary by using copy method. So there is a small program here related to a copy of a dictionary. You can easily see that same dictionary here contain 3 different data items related to brand, model and year. And after that, my dict is equal to this dict dot copy. This dict is the name of the dictionary which is already created, and when you just use my dict is equal to this dict dot copy, so the whole content of the this dict will be copied to my dict. And if you just print my dict, then my dict dictionary will be printed. Now my dict dictionary is different from this dict dictionary, and if we make a change in my dict dictionary or this dict dictionary, that change will not reflect it to my dict dictionary. So if you make a change in this dict dictionary, then these changes will not be reflected to my dict dictionary. That is the main advantage of using a copy method. You can easily see that on the screen. That is the output. It means we successfully make a copy of dictionary district. There is another method by which we can make a copy, and this is by using DICT built-in function. DICT function. So using DICT function, you can also able to make a dictionary. You can also make a copy of a dictionary. When we compare this program to the previous one, then we can see that second last line here, my dict is equal to DICT, and within parenthesis sign we just pass the name of the dictionary which is already created, and that is this dict. So what happens after the execution of that statement? There is another dictionary, my dict, is created, which contain all the data items which belongs to this dict, and this is a different dictionary when compared to the district. Even all the data items are same, but when we perform any operation on the district, that means the original dictionary, then these are not reflected on my dict dictionary, means new dictionary. So in this way we can also create a copy of a dictionary. So now we have two methods or two ways to create a copy of a dictionary using copy method, and second, built-in function DICT, using built-in function DICT. You can easily see here. Just execute the program. That is okay. First line is a comment, so make a proper comment here by using hash sign. Now it is a comment. Now I execute this program. You can easily see that this is the output. Our next topic is nested dictionary. Means dictionary under dictionary. So first of all, create a dictionary that contain 3 dictionary. So we contain a dictionary that contain 3 dictionary. It means it is an example of nested dictionary. My family is the name of the dictionary, which contain 3 keys: child 1, child 2 and child 3, and these 3 key and value regarding to these 3 key is in the forms of a dictionary itself. So it is an example of nested dictionary. You can easily see here, name of the dictionary is my family, and which contain 3 keys: child 1, child 2 and child 3, and values related to the child 1, child 2 and child 3. Child 1, child 2 and child 3 are in the form of a dictionary itself. So it is clearly an example of nested dictionary. and the values under the dictionary, nested dictionaries are contain name and year, name and year. So three different dictionaries are there in a dictionary, my family. You can easily see on it on screen. Now let us execute this program and check what happens after the execution of this program. This program is very simple and is an example of nested dictionary. So we just create a dictionary here, and inside the dictionary all the values related to different keys are in the form of a dictionary itself. So it is an example of nested dictionary. These are the part of the dictionary. So I make just a different color to represent that this is the part of a dictionary. All three dictionaries are the part of the main dictionary, my family. Okay. So just try to execute this program and check what is the output. Go to Python 3.3, Python ideally, and then just paste the program here. After that, just give a print statement, because without print statement you are not able to see the dictionary. And name of the dictionary is my family, so print my family. Just run the program. Before, just save the program, give it a proper name, and that is the output you can easily see on the screen. So it is clearly an example of nested dictionary. And output is also in the forms of nested dictionary. You can easily see on the screen. Our last topic is nested dictionary, and there are two different ways to create a nested dictionary. This is the second example to create a nested dictionary. First of all, you just create three different dictionaries. This is the second method. You can also create nested dictionary like that. You just create three different dictionary: child 1, child 2, and child 3, and then create main dictionary and pass these three dictionary as a value inside the fourth dictionary, that is my family. Let us see. So this example basically create three dictionary, then create one dictionary that will contain the other three dictionary. So that is dictionary 1, child 1, contain two data items related to name and year. Second, child 2 again contain two data items related to name and year. Third dictionary contain data item related to name and year again. So now we have three dictionaries: child 1, child 2, and child 3. Now create the main dictionary, name my family, and here you can easily see that my family contain 3 data items related to child 1, child 2 and child 3. So pass this value child 1, child 2 and child 3, which are the name of the dictionary, as a value. After that statement, we are able to create a nested dictionary. So this is the another method. Actually, this both of them are the same, but the only difference is that in this case we just create a dictionary first, and then after that they pass these as a value to the main dictionary. And in previous case, we just create the dictionary inside the main dictionary. So both of them are the example of the nested dictionary. So let us execute this program and check what is the output. So just give a print statement to print a dictionary, because without this you are not able to see the dictionary. So execute this program. That is the output. You can easily see on the screen. Save the program. Okay. Now our last topic is dict constructor. So you can create a dictionary using dict constructor also. So this is another way to create a dictionary using dict constructor, and very simple to implement. So it is also possible to use dict constructor to make a new dictionary. For that purpose, you just write the name of the dictionary first. In this case, this is this dict, and after that, you can just write dict constructor dict, and inside the dict constructor, you can give different key value combination, means items, different items related to that, and now you are able to create a dictionary. Print this statement is also there to show the output. Now let us execute this program. You can easily see the output. And this is the output, you can easily see on the screen. And so we can also create dictionary using dict constructor. This is all about our today's lecture. I hope you are able to understand all the concept related to this video. So in our next video related to dictionary methods, different dictionary methods. Some of them have already been discussed here. So thanks for watching this video.